The future of Bitcoin hangs in the balance as crypto's adoption continues to grow and accelerate, meaning this market continues to mature away from speculation and store of value stories to ones of real use case and adoption. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive to say that Bitcoin's future is hanging in the balance despite crypto's growing nature right now, but that's not just me saying that. That's effectively what Tom Lee and Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and many other leading figures were talking about and discussing at the Future Investment Initiative conference right here, reminding their audience that the era of speculation is ending, that Bitcoin told a fantastic story about crypto and led the way, but now with real world adoption coming in, utility will be the shining stars. Once clarity hits, only real use case survives, and the realist of all the assets in this space and what they have built, no doubt, is Ripple and XRP. So XRP will be the ones to lead the circle going forward. Take a listen here.
One of the principal things that draws them here is the idea that Bitcoin is digital gold. It's a store of value in a world that's increasingly digital. What do you all think about the idea of, is Bitcoin going to be attractive if gold itself is available on the blockchain, so that if gold becomes digitized and we can buy it as easily as we can buy Bitcoin, would we still want to own Bitcoin?
The thing about tokenized gold is that you still have the counterparty risk, and you might show up there and there might not be any gold. The thing about Bitcoin is that the token itself, once you have it in your address, that's it. It's final settlement. So there's a big difference. I mean, it's very good for gold to be able to trade it like that, but you're certainly depending on the issuing party, the party that issues the tokens, to make good on that delivery.
And I would also add that it's essentially gold banking is illegal around the world. It's not really possible to make payments with gold. And therefore, people who use it as a store of value necessarily have to liquidate it in order to make their money mobile. We live in a global economy. Most businesses deal across international borders, and they need their money to move. And in the digital economy, money's speed is increasing more and more, and therefore, gold physically cannot keep up, because I think it's too politically centralized, it's too politically sensitive. Whereas with Bitcoin, on the other hand, you've got final clearance and final settlement of a digital asset, which is native digital. So therefore, that allows it to be a lot faster. And I think that is why Bitcoin has massively outperformed gold over the past 16 years, and I would expect that trend to continue.
Tom, if I may, I think you're demonstrating that we don't have a global consensus about crypto. Even in this conversation, and I agree that it still is early, partly because there is not a global consensus about some of these things.
I agree.
And I think some of the use cases, we're still extremely early in terms of scaled use cases. Circle is certainly one example that has started to have a scaled use case around a stablecoin. But I think the crypto industry, I agree, the next 16 years, I think will be better than the last 16 years, because you'll finally see applications emerging that up until now have just been the store of value story or speculation.
You can already see the evidence of real world adoption taking place, and more importantly, if you know the connection and involvement Ripple and XRP have in it, proving that Ripple and XRP will lead this space. For one, here, MasterCard have just recently acquired the crypto company Zero Hash, allowing MasterCard to further tap into the stablecoin narrative. And if you didn't know, Ripple is a partner of MasterCard, which is a very, very big deal. But that is not all. Furthermore, next week will be the Ripple Swell event, where the world-leading financial elites are heading to New York to attend. Over 700 of the world's most influential voices from the Nasdaq, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Citibank, and many more, even global policy leaders and more, will be coming together discussing the future of payments and effectively Ripple and XRP's involvement in it. But for me, the most telling proof that Bitcoin's future is hanging in the balance and Ripple and XRP will be the ones to surpass them and lead this new digital era is this interview here with Brad Garlinghouse and the IMF Deputy General Counsel Ross Leckow, where Brad states, within a year, I predict that financial institutions, like banks, would be using XRP in their payment flows, and it turns out that I was right. Huge stuff here, so listen very closely once more.
So my prediction, about 1 year ago, I actually was here at the Singapore FinTech Festival, and I got in trouble when I went back to the office because the PR team said I had overstepped by predicting that within a year, I predicted that financial institutions like banks would be using XRP in their payment flows. And that was a year ago that I made that prediction, and I go back to the office and everybody was like, Brad, you're not allowed to say things like that. It turns out I was right, which I remind the team of. So now as I look forward a year from now, like what are the things that are hard for us to imagine being true? And not even specific to Ripple or to XRP's community. I think one of the things that will surprise us a year from now is that banks will be custodying digital assets directly. And I think right now we think about that and think, look, there's no way that's going to happen. They're too conservative. And I think what you're seeing is, two things happening. One is banks are seeing that a lot of money is being made by digital asset exchanges globally, and banks are profit motivated. The second, and as we've talked about up here, certainly Ross has made very clear, is regulatory clarity and regulatory frameworks enable banks and financial institutions to lean into these markets. And I think we will surprise ourselves by this time. And by the way, I'll also predict that it will be banks in the ASEAN markets where there is this regulatory clarity and there is a lot of progressive forward thinking. They'll be the first to actually allow for crypto assets custody in their accounts.
As this market matures and grows out of the speculation, the price swings will be a lot less volatile as well. Right now, the markets are looking a little bit red today off the back of Jerome Powell's hawkish FOMC meeting yesterday, because the XRP is currently down almost 3% of the daily time frame, valued now at $2.47. But make no mistake, the maturing nature of the market, this speculation will come to an end soon, and utility will be the driving factor. Ripple and XRP will take its rightful place and shining in the limelight, and one of the triggers for a massive move in XRP price will be the imminent ETF filings. According to Nate Garassi here, Bitwise believe that XRP's army will smash the bar on XRP ETFs, and that spot XRP ETFs will easily become a $1 billion fund within the first few months. And he's not wrong, and it may even be sooner than that, as the flows will likely dramatically exceed what people are expecting, which is a very, very big deal. So the price, while negative, will come back. But honestly, as we've seen from what we've heard right now, you need to stop following the hype and FOMO. You start looking into real utility to set you up for the future. So in that regard, you want to find out more, stay more locked in, come check out the VIP here, wap.com/coinfactory. We have alpha documentation, learn what smart money is saying to their enterprise clients ahead of time, educational sources, we do trade alerts as well, and so much more. Check it all out for our 7-day free trial as well. Links down below in the description. And remember, as always, don't look short-term, think long-term. And I'll see you in the next one.